Well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving, and hope everybody gets to enjoy some time and with family. For us, it'll be it's been an opportunity to reflect and get better. There was a lot of positives coming out of Vegas. There was some frustrations and some negatives and some things we know we have to get better at. One of the things we're really challenging this group with is how to win a possession, and understand that it's a game of possessions. Dane missed a jump hook. You're going to miss a shot, but you got to come down and you got to fight, and you got to be really solid, and you got to have grit and toughness to win that next defensive battle. We didn't win enough of those. It wasn't the action or the actions that Virginia ran. Late in the game, they just went straight isolation with Beekman and hurt us. And we got to be tough enough to make those stops, to make those little victories when you don't score. But we gave them 8 second chance points in the first half. We've got to clean up our rebounding. It's got to become more tenacious. Been all over RJ. 0 defensive rebounds in that tournament. Been all over Terrence. Terrence had 10 in the first half against UCLA. He had 1 in the last 3 halves. Got to rebound the ball better from our wing spots. We're asking Sky and Jaden, a ton of them, and they have 9 in the Virginia game. So they're doing their part. We just got to get tougher, and we're not tough enough. And that's both mentally and physically, and that's what we've worked really hard on here in the last few days. And as we head into Lindenwood, a team that is small, athletic as heck. They shoot it from all 5 spots. They're going to play in transition, and they're very, very good off the bounce. And we've got to sit down and guard the dribble against these guys. So a lot of emphasis on the defensive end, and trying to get a little more grit and a little tougher on that side.
Coach, how do you feel that the freshmen, particularly the guards, handle themselves against 2 veteran backcourts on the 2 teams that you played? And are there how's that beneficial to your team moving forward?
I thought they were great. I thought they were outstanding. I think they also found out that they've got a lot to learn. In the understanding of watching a Tiger Campbell run a team and seeing Beekman and Clark and how they played. And in the Virginia game, it was those 2 guys, Clark and Beekman, that made plays. Guards have to make plays. Jaden was fantastic in the Virginia game. He missed a shot he normally makes, and then he broke a play off that we didn't need broke off. We need to execute. So there's a lot to learn there. They are playing terrific. I want them to be better defensively. I want them to be better ball hawks. I want them to be tougher, and we're going to have to get them toughened up on the defensive side and playing with more fight on the ball. Too many times we look at how many points they score, and they look at that, and there's a lot of responsibility there. But we got to fight on the ball better, and both those guys got to grow in that area.
I guess maybe when in the recruiting process did you maybe see that Sincere could be maybe a guy you could put at the top of the press, or a guy that could be a defensive spark off the bench?
Yeah, well, it didn't take very long because he's an ultra competitive kid who, and I use the word twitchy. He is so athletic. I mean, his quickness is elite. When you put elite and tough together in terms of elite athleticism and toughness, you got a guy who can make some plays. He's got really good length, that was an early on detection. He's a guy who was known for scoring. He's really good with the ball. He can really he played the point in high school, and he can really go get his own off the bounce. So That side will continue to develop and grow, and a lot of that will do with strength. But he's very very athletic, and he's got a great desire to want to stop the other team's best player.
Going to ask you, how much does Sincere's toughness help in what you're trying to do right now and trying to build right now?
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, we're looking for guys like that. We're looking for those gritty, tough guys that, impact a game without having to score it all the time. And yet he finds a way to score it, and he finds a way to get a layup because he runs hard, because he runs faster than most people. He dives on the floor for a loose ball, or he ball hawks it for 4 minutes, which at the end of the UCLA game, I mean, he had them exhausted. I mean, Tiger was exhausted, we've got a unique find there, and they're hard to find, and it carries over, and it's fun to see. I mean, he's +7 in the Virginia game in his minutes, and that's impacting the game.
Part of Virginia's game, it seems, is to draw contact and get to the line. But that said, is there a growth point for you guys defensively?
Yeah, quit reaching. We ran them every time they fouled in practice this week. Put them on the line. It's a mistake. I think we had 4 and 1s. That's unheard of. We can't be that soft. If we're going to foul them, let's foul them. But you can't have an and 1. And that's literally just because you're not in the right position. You're late, but it's a mistake. And we work on verticality all the time. We had 3 or 4 of those that I thought were, could have gone either way, but they went against us. And we have to grow from that. And we've got to be tougher. That's one of the things I'm talking about with toughness. You can't, if you get hit in the stomach, a lot of times you double over, and so your hands come down. We got to be strong enough in the chest and initiate the contact instead of taking the blow. And we took way too many blows, which led to too many fouls.
Get a break week for school, so I'm assuming more practice coming off of the test in Vegas, knowing it's going to ratchet up again. What's the value of that, and how have you approached these last few days?
Yeah, 2-a-days, great. The practice time, it's been a great couple days to get back to some fundamental things. One, but more importantly, demand execution on both ends of the court. Like we said. Understand that fouls are mistakes. Understand that turnovers are mistakes. Understand that there's fundamental things that we can't have happen. I'm so distraught over the fact we didn't press in the second half against Virginia, and it wasn't with intent. Their will won out over ours. Their mental toughness won out over ours. We just didn't get guys up in the press, and we've worked very, very hard at that for a few days in practice. Every practice has had huge segments of just getting into the press. And maybe it's me playing guys too many minutes. Maybe it's us not being in great shape yet, good enough to do that. Those are things we got to change.
Brad, has Matt practiced since he went down with his shoulder?
Yes.
Has he been okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
He's fine.
You said you've been on RJ a little bit. What do you said rebounding, but is there more you want to see out of him in consistency?
Effort. It's really hard to play 47 minutes or whatever it was and get 0 rebounds. And it can't happen. It can't. He was a guy who played 7 minutes last year and he get 5. And if I'm playing him too many minutes, then for him to maximize that, and his role on the scouting report has changed. But he's a kid that cares. He's conscientious. He's had his best 2 days of practice moving into this game, just from a competing standpoint. There's got to be. He's so athletic and he's so capable. But you got to stick your nose in there, and you can't be afraid to get your nose bloodied. And I got all the respect in the world, and I told our team this. I mean, that elbow Sky took, he just kind of flinched. It was just a flinch, and he's bloodied up, and he's got a big cut, and he's screaming, "Don't take me out." That's toughness. A lot of these guys want to wallow around on the floor and act like they're on their last leg, and Sky's tough. And that's the grit we've got to have in the fight, and that's what we're asking for from every player.
What have you seen from Ty this week? Foul trouble in Vegas, didn't play a lot of minutes.
A better old Ty. I think he got his confidence shook a little bit. Foul trouble, it's really hard to play. And when you don't get in the flow of games early, it gets hard to get in that flow, get that feel-good vibe going and break a sweat. And I thought he did some really good things in the time he was in the Virginia game especially. He kept his hands on balls, but he can't foul. I mean, his minutes were limited because of that. And so he's we've addressed those things. He's watched a ton of film. He's seen where the mistakes are, and now we've got to get him back and get him going actually in games.
So with your half-court offense and chemistry offensively, how important were those reps against Virginia, especially late in the game, just to kind of build that for later in the season?
Yeah, Virginia's very good at both ends of the court. And, again, you're talking about a team filled with 22 and 23-year-olds that have been together for a long time. And, and understanding what gaps look like and understanding – okay, Terrence, you're probably going to see this defense again, so you're not going to get in that gap. You've got to pitch it when there's three guys open. You got away with it against UCLA and got fouled or scored it. But all those reps are good. And, Coleman is such an unbelievable trigger for us, and he makes things happen. And when we moved and we cut, we got a lot of easy baskets, even against a very good defensive team. To be very honest, I don't have a lot of problems with our offense right now. I mean, I think we're getting the shots that we like and want for the most part, but we've got to execute better down the stretch. That's on me, demanding that, and then we've got to be tougher on the defensive side.
What'd you learn about adjustments you may need to make next time you play a team that wants to slow you down to like a 63, 64 possession type of game?
Yeah, stay in the press. Stay in the press. We had it right going exactly the way we wanted the first half. And and it's didn't matter how much I said it, we didn't get in it. We didn't get in it. And we it's the first game we've had that. We didn't get in it. We gave up 1-3, but we had them running. And our depth was better than, and I feel like was every bit as good as theirs. And we got out of it. And our defense is based on our press and our ability to stay in the half court and be disruptive. And we got out of that, and their will won out over ours.
From a big picture perspective, using Vegas maybe as that early measuring stick, I mean, did it serve its purpose, or did you find out maybe what you needed to about your team?
Found out more. I think everything, we found our secret scrimmage. I found out a lot. This event, I found out a lot. We've got next challenges coming up, and it starts on Friday where we got to continue to get better. And then our next four, are out there as well. We got to continue to grow, to play into those things, to be better, to go win those games. And two of them are league games. So, yeah, that's why you play those games. I don't want to go to Maryland's the first one, right? Maryland. I don't want to go to Maryland and not know what our warts are, so to speak. I want to know what our problems are, so we're a little better prepared, I hope, to play a very, 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 very good Maryland team when that comes about. But that's why you play in these.
Going back to Sincere, I know one thing you and a lot of players have talked about is just his energy level. When was the first time you saw that, either on the recruiting trailer in practice? When was the first time you just saw Sincere's kind of energy level either on the recruiting trailer in practice?
Oh, I mean, every game he plays unrelenting. I mean, he is, I was, Chester and I always had the conversation because, I mean, he talks more trash than any player in America. And I'm like, he and I are going to have some battles here, and yet it's the one thing I love about him, because he is an ultra competitor. I mean, he's trying to rip the JV player's head off in practice as he's kicking his butt, and then it's whoever he plays, it's just that mentality. And, I have a tendency to kind of like those guys.
Coach, when teams are like hedging the ball screens and doubling Terrence out front and clogging up the lane, are there other ways that you're looking at getting him some scoring opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, good players make themselves better. Great players make their teammates better. The hedges we destroyed. We killed them. We got the ball from one side of the floor to the other. It didn't bother us. I was really proud of our freshman guards for that. We ran a play late in the game and asked Terrence to just cross over, and because they jumped a ball screen, we knew it was coming. And Beekman makes a heck of a defensive play. If he just crosses it over, he's got a layup. Because they're big kids were on the outside. But yeah, I mean, it's UCLA was in the gaps too. He just made shots. Teams are gonna load up, and he also had 6 assists, and we do not want him to lose his aggressiveness. That's for sure. So we're keep driving that thing. There's 9 free throws is a low number for him. We got to keep him driving that thing.
I know one of the early games you mentioned, 3-pointers, contested threes with 20 seconds on the clock, maybe not the shot you're looking for. I mean, just where are you kind of at on shot selection with your team? Maybe wanting them to be aggressive, but also maybe make good ones.
Yeah, there's a fine line, I think. And I think you got to understand the time of the game, how it's coming, how it's going, where it's at. If you're shooting if like I thought all of Coleman's shots were good shots. Coleman's got to continue taking those opportunities when they're there. I think we had a good rhythm. I think we took a couple. Terrence took one really quick one in transition with 2 guys on him that I didn't love. But again, he just made 8 of 9, or whatever he was the first night. He's a guy that's going to make those. But we also talked about, hey, that's one you got to pass up, make the extra, and it'll get back to you. So it's a fine line. I don't tell guys not to shoot. I just tell them, think about being a great teammate and let's get in a better one.